They don't have no friends because they're awkward or unlikable or socially broken. They have no friends because their nervous system doesn't trust easily, and that changes everything. Think about it. Some people crave noise. They collect people the way others collect distractions. Constant messages, constant plans, constant stimulation. But others? They walk into a room and scan before they speak. They notice tone shifts, micro-expressions, energy changes, and the moment something feels even slightly unsafe, they don't react. They withdraw, quietly. Psychology calls this hypervigilance. Most people just call it quiet, and that misunderstanding is where the isolation begins. Let's say this clearly. Having no close friends is rarely about social incompetence. It's usually about nervous system wiring. If you grew up in an environment where emotional safety was inconsistent, where attention was unpredictable, where being fully yourself felt risky, your brain adapted, not emotionally, biologically. The amygdala, your internal threat detector, became more sensitive. Your system learned something very specific. Connection feels good, but it can hurt. So now, you don't attach quickly. You observe first. You test. You wait. And most people never pass that unconscious test. Not all trauma is loud. Some trauma is subtle. No screaming, no chaos, no dramatic stories. Just emotional invisibility. When a child repeatedly feels unseen, their nervous system quietly stops expecting depth from others. That's emotional neglect. And the adult version, you automatically say, "I'm fine." You don't overshare. You keep your deeper thoughts locked away. You feel drained by surface-level conversations. It's not arrogance, it's energy conservation. Small talk feels like static when your mind operates in depth. So eventually, you start choosing solitude over shallow connection, and slowly, your circle shrinks. Here's what most people don't understand. People with very few friends are often extremely perceptive. They read subtle tone changes. They detect insincerity fast. They notice emotional inconsistencies others miss. That's not overthinking. That's a nervous system trained to scan for threat. But here's the cost. When you detect too much, you trust too little. And when trust feels expensive, you ration it. Connection becomes a calculated risk. So you become selective, then distant, then mysterious, and eventually alone. After enough disappointments, the brain becomes efficient. It decides, reaching out doesn't change much. People don't really see me. Depth isn't reciprocated. This isn't weakness, it's pattern recognition. Your brain stops investing where it predicts low emotional return, and over time, you start telling yourself you prefer being alone. But preference and protection are not always the same thing. Externally, you function, you work, you post, you appear stable. Internally, you crave depth. You imagine what it would feel like to sit across from someone who doesn't require performance, someone who understands silence without interpreting it as distance. But here's the paradox. The more you crave real connection, the more cautious you become. And caution is invisible armor. People don't see armor, they just feel distance. Let's correct something important. Low social volume does not mean low social value. Some nervous systems are built for tribes. Others are built for depth. You don't need 10 friends. You need one nervous system that feels safe next to yours. But safety requires risk. And risk is exactly what your brain has been trying to avoid. So here's the real reflection. Are you alone because you're unwanted? Or because your nervous system still believes connection is dangerous? If it's the second one, then your isolation isn't a personality trait. It's an outdated survival strategy. And outdated strategies can be rewired. You are not friendless because you lack value. You are selective because your brain learned caution. But caution, when overused, becomes a cage, and cages feel safe until you realize they were never meant to be permanent. Somewhere out there is someone whose nervous system won't trigger yours, but they won't find you if you never step slightly beyond your protective silence. Not loudly, not dramatically, just gradually. Because sometimes the quietest people aren't alone. They're just waiting for safety.